Hi, I'm Lou Sclafani, a retired district chief out of Pinellas Park, Florida, where I served for over 30 years. I'm also an adjunct instructor at St. Petersburg College, where I developed and deliver a 40-hour aerial operations class. Now, I was supposed to speak at FDIC 2020, but we all know what happened to 2020. It kind of sucked. Anyways, I was invited back for 2021. Then that program and that presentation got pushed back to August, and I wasn't able to make it. But it's 2022, and we're back. And I'm so looking forward to presenting again at FDIC. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Clarion Events and Fire Engineering for having me back. So what's my program called? What's it about? I'm glad you asked. So it's called Aerial Apparatus, their tactical and strategical use, and training drills for the truck crew. So what's it about? Well, like I said, I teach a 40-hour aerial operations class. I've taken all the best material from that class, whittled it down to about an hour and 45 minutes of action-packed presentation, photos, and videos. So why do I say action-packed? Like I said, I use a lot of photos, a lot of videos in my 40-hour presentation, and everybody loves those, right? So I've taken the best ones, the most interesting ones, the most educational ones, and some of the more controversial ones, and I put them together for my presentation at FDIC. We're going to talk about those. I have a bunch. There's going to be no death by PowerPoint when you come to my presentation. So I think we're going to start out talking a little bit about some basics on aerials. We're looking at different types. We're going to look at differences, pros and cons of ladders versus platforms, TDAs. Again, pros and cons and differences of a mid-mount versus a rear mount. And we'll even have a little quick comparison between aluminum aerials and steel aerials. We'll look at all their pros and cons. Now, over the years, as I've delivered my program, I've noticed there's one thing that, for the most part, that firefighters truly don't understand, and that is their weight limits and their load charts. So I want to make sure that when you get through my presentation that you understand the load limits and the weight charts of your aerial, know how to look at the charts. So we'll have a couple different manufacturers types of charts that we'll look at in the presentation, and we'll review that. Again, I don't know why, but it's really pretty simple. It's really eye-opening when I show it to people and they go, well, they didn't realize that. So we'll talk a few minutes about that. And then we're going to spend some time talking about positioning. Now, I call it positioning for objective. So when you pull up on the scene, what's your objective, right? Have you been assigned to make a rescue, our number one priority on the fire ground? Or is it a defensive op? Or you don't have an assignment yet and you're just kind of waiting. Maybe somebody will tell you what to do. But if you're setting up for a rescue, you set up one way and one spot. If you're setting up for it's a defensive op, the building's fully involved, we're going to flow our master stream, flow 1,000, 15, 2,000 gallons a minute. You kind of set up for a little differently for that. Again, two entirely different tactics. So we're going to talk about the differences there. Now, regardless of your objective, you always want to keep the device out of the wires. And sometimes we're not so good at that. And the results can be, shall we say, a little shocking. And yes, I have some pictures of that unfortunate event. I have some videos of that. And we're gonna talk about the importance and see the importance of keeping your aerial out of the wires. And then there's stabilization. We're going to talk about that as well. In fact, if you check out the March edition, I believe it's going to be, of Fire Engineering, I'll have an article in there about stabilization. So you'll get a little, if you see that article, you'll get a little preview of the things we're going to talk about in the class. But over the last few years, there's been a series of different pictures and videos that have showed up on social media that have been, shall we say, controversial, spurred some discussions, some heated and spirited discussion, you might say. And I'm talking specifically about taking your truck off the pavement, setting it up on the grass and the softer ground, I'm talking about taking a truck and tilting it up or tilting it over, so it's not like at the 0 level on your level indicator, it's something else. Can you do that? And it's really interesting looking online at the different opinions that people have on whether that is legitimate, not legitimate. And I got to tell you, one of the beautiful things, one of the great things about FDIC is that it's such a great conference that every single manufacturer who builds ladder trucks will be there. So my very first FDIC I went to was 1985 in Cincinnati. I haven't been to every one since then, but I've been to a bunch. And over the years, I have made it to the exhibit floor and spoken to all of the different manufacturers multiple times about the different trucks, their trucks, what they can do, can't do, and trying to stay up on them that way. Not to mention new apparatus deliveries, sit in on those presentations, read the various different articles. Every time I go to the show, whether I speak to the aerial specialist, a sales guy, an engineer, they give me their business card, and if you have questions, I call them up and ask them. So I'm pretty confident that the things that we're going to talk about are legitimate. But if you walk away, but again, they're controversial. I see it on social media all the time. So if you walk away going, man, I don't know, that Lou guy, what he said, I don't know. Listen, this is what you do. You go to the exhibit floor and you walk the floor and you find the manufacturer who makes your trucks and say, hey, this guy in the presentation said this. Is this right? Can your truck do this? Or our truck can't do that? Take that opportunity to actually go talk to the manufacturers of your truck, because they're going to know more than Bubba on social media will know. Bubba the firefighter doesn't know it all. He doesn't. Thinks he does, but he doesn't. So we're mostly talking modern vehicles, and I'm talking modern vehicles like post-1991, so 30 some odd years. So if you have an ancient vehicle that's pre-1991, okay, maybe it can't do some of the things we're going to talk about. But thanks to modern technology, modern materials, modern construction techniques, we don't see much in the way of aerial failures anymore. There are a few. There have been some. I've tried to collect those. I've tried to learn about those. I've got plenty of pictures on those, some video as well, and we're going to talk about those. Only a few of them are design or build errors. The majority of them, unfortunately, are operator error. Now, the good news about operator error is it's something that you can recognize, and with education, training, and experience, we can address them. We can help prevent them from occurring again. So I think we'll take a look at those. I want to make sure, again, luckily we're not seeing them falling over like maybe we used to back in the day. So I normally tell people that aerials are our biggest, baddest, most expensive, and most technical piece of equipment that we have. So in lieu of that, I developed a series of training drills or training exercises, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them, something like that. I'm always adjusting. That you can take back, we're going to talk about, and you can take these back to your department and pretty much have a year's worth of training. It's like a training officer's dream coming true, right? When you can have, say, hey, here's a year's worth of aerial training. Don't have to go out and develop anything. Just do what this says. So I'll talk about those in the presentation a little bit. Probably not a lot, but we'll talk about that in the presentation a little bit. But that document will be available for you to download. So every presenter has the opportunity to upload some support material and give you, as the attendee, the opportunity to download that material as a support to the things that we spoke about. So that's going to be my support material that'll be available online. You'll be able to download that. I really hope that you make it to FDIC 2022. I hope you make it to my presentation. I would love to see you. Really looking forward to get back to some normalcy, getting back to enjoying Indy the way we always have. So until then, train hard and be safe. Take care.